Hey everybody, good morning. How you doing? This is the day after the incredible and incredibly nerve-wracking Georgia runoff from and a lot of people are offering their opinions regarding why Senator Raphael Warnock narrowly won his second term, a full 6-year term as senator for the state of representing the state of Georgia. Um, a number of people have said, well, Georgia has just simply turned into a purple state. In other words, some areas are red, some areas are blue. And no one's really expanded on how that happened or what it means for the future. And is it really true? This is what happened from the perspective of a person, me, who has, for roughly the last 3 years now, been here for my mother as a caregiver, yet still maintaining my apartment in Oakland. And I remember when I first started coming here repeatedly to help my mom, during that time, Pinewood Studios in England was called Pinewood Studios, Atlanta, Fayetteville, Georgia, and what would be the home of the manufacturer, if you like, of a number of Avengers movies, right? So I would ask people, didn't matter if it was the server at a coffee house or someone at the local fitness place that I work out at, hey, what do you think of the movie industry coming in and Pinewood Studios? And I expected someone to say, oh, this is really great, and I'm excited to see my favorite stars, stuff like that. No. The response I received repeatedly was, gee, I don't know. And I would say, don't know, I don't understand. Well, it's really going to change things around here. That was the response I got the first time I asked that question at a local restaurant. And I said, what do you mean? She said, the politics. She was reluctant to really go in depth. And I would get that response again and again and again. Meanwhile, I went to San Diego Comic-Cons. I've covered it every year, either there or virtually since 2010. And in 2016, I met a gentleman, actually interviewed him. We were talking about special effects. And we got around to the conversation of how work for special effects houses was headed to Georgia. That spontaneously came up, and I said, oh, well, I spend a good portion of my time there because of my mom. And so he and I had lunch because he wanted to know how to get business in Georgia, because business for special effects houses was drying up in California. Why? Because they're all going to Georgia in droves. And so I contend that a gigantic reason for Senator Raphael Warnock's reelection were transplant Californians here who work in the movie industry. You see, in every gigantic political development, there's an underlying culture, there was an underlying demographic shift that's economically driven. Let me give you an example. During the war, the shipbuilding industry, or a shipbuilding industry, I should say, developed in Oakland and what we call the Oakland estuary. And Henry J. Kaiser set up a steel building plants as part of the effort, but knowing that his workers were going to need top flight health care and that many of them were coming from the South and black, he established what is now Kaiser Permanente. And that gigantic demographic shift of people blacks from the South to Oakland to work gave rise to Oakland's development as a major national center of black culture, and the number of black mayors and black representatives that we have a great rich tradition of them. See? So similarly, we have Reverend Warnock, who became senator, who ran against Kerry Loeffler and won. And I think the first test of this demographic shift, but remember, it didn't stop. During the pandemic, it accelerated. Okay? It accelerated. And as more people moving here from California to Georgia, not just because of the movie industry, but also because of low cost, guess what happened? The politics were impacted. And that's what led us to where we are right now. A combination largely of the movie industry, but also pandemic costs, but largely the movie industry. In other words, you can basically say the California movie industry altered the politics here in Georgia. Subscribe to Zennie62 and bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com. See ya.